They draft their blueprints in sterile rooms under the cold glow of analytical screens. Their strategies are masterpieces of logic, every contingency mapped, every variable supposedly accounted for. They believe they have dissected the human equation, reduced us to predictable patterns. Their invasion plan, whether it's for your attention, your compliance, your spirit, or your wallet, is, in their eyes, utterly flawless. They've crunched the data, run the simulations. They are certain of their success. And then they hit the wall. They encounter the one variable they could never truly model, never truly control, never truly understand: human randomness. That glorious, unpredictable, often infuriating, and ultimately life-saving spark that makes you, you. This isn't just about whimsical chance. This is about the untamed core of human agency, the refusal to be a cog, the sudden swerve when you were expected to go straight. Today, we dissect how this very randomness is not a flaw to be corrected, but your most potent weapon against the calculated invasions of modern life. We explore how their perfect systems crumble when faced with the beautifully imperfect, gloriously unpredictable force of a human being who dares to be truly, randomly, themselves. First, let's pull back the curtain on these flawless invasion plans. They are not always grand, cinematic schemes orchestrated by shadowy figures. More often, they are the insidious, pervasive systems and mindsets that seek to streamline your existence into a predictable, manageable, and often exploitable commodity. Think about the algorithms that curate your reality, designed to keep you clicking, scrolling, buying. Their flawless plan is to learn your desires so intimately they can dictate them. Think of the societal scripts that tell you who to be by what age, what success looks like, what's considered normal. A flawless plan for conformity, laid out generations ago, still attempting to invade your authentic path. Consider the corporate ladder, often presented as a flawless plan for advancement, yet it frequently rewards predictable behavior over genuine innovation, demanding you fit a predefined mold. Think of the manipulative individuals in your life. Their flawless plans, woven with carefully chosen words and actions, designed to elicit specific emotional responses and secure their desired outcome from you. Even your own mind can launch flawless invasions. Those deeply ingrained negative thought patterns, those limiting beliefs that have, through repetition, become seemingly irrefutable truths, flawlessly guiding you towards inaction and self-sabotage. What makes these plans appear so flawless? It's their reliance on data, on observed patterns, on the assumption of rational, or at least predictably irrational behavior. They operate on averages, on probabilities. They build models based on past actions, assuming future conformity. The flawless plan of the advertiser banks on your known desires. The flawless plan of the demagogue banks on your known fears. The flawless plan of your own self-doubt banks on your history of succumbing to it. Their strength lies in their perceived inevitability, their logical structure, their often overwhelming scale or psychological precision. They are designed to make you feel that resistance is futile, that deviation is foolish. But here lies their Achilles heel, the crack in their supposedly perfect armor. They are, by their very nature, rigid. A truly flawless plan for controlling a dynamic system would need to be infinitely adaptable, capable of processing and reacting to an infinite number of novel inputs. Such a plan is a fantasy. Real-world flawless plans are brittle. They are built for a world that behaves as expected, and human beings at their core are agents of the unexpected. The moment a human being acts outside the predicted parameters, the flawless plan begins to stutter, to malfunction, to break. This is where your power, your randomness, enters the equation. Now let's define this human randomness, because it's far more than just arbitrary action or mindless chaos. It's not about flipping a coin for every decision. In the context we're discussing, human randomness is the expression of your deepest, most untethered individuality. It's the courageous leap of intuition when logic screams caution. It's the spontaneous act of kindness in a cynical world. It's the unexpected question that shatters a comfortable consensus. It's the sudden burst of creative energy that rewrites the entire script. It's the stubborn refusal to follow the herd, even when the path is unclear. It's your capacity for genuine surprise, for genuine novelty, for choosing a path not because it's sensible or expected, but because some unquantifiable part of you ignites at its prospect. Imagine a chess grandmaster, their mind a repository of countless games, strategies, and countermoves. Their opponent makes a move so unorthodox, so seemingly illogical. It's not in any of the textbooks. For a moment, the grandmaster is floored. Their meticulously constructed mental framework, their flawless plan for this game, is disrupted. That unorthodox move, born from a different way of seeing the board, is an act of randomness in this context. It doesn't guarantee victory, but it shatters the opponent's certainty and opens up new, unmapped possibilities. Think of the artist who throws an unexpected color onto the canvas, an act that breaks the established harmony, but in doing so, creates something breathtakingly new. That's randomness as creativity. Think of the entrepreneur who pursues a wild idea that everyone dismisses as unviable, an idea that defies current market logic, yet it taps into an unmet, unspoken need. That's randomness as innovation. Think of the quiet employee who, after years of towing the line, suddenly speaks truth to power in a crucial meeting, not out of calculated rebellion, but from a spontaneous surge of conviction. That is randomness as courage. This randomness is the wild card. It's the ghost in the machine. It's the element that predictive analytics can't fully capture because it stems from the complex interplay of your unique experiences, your hidden aspirations, your emotional landscape, and that indefinable spark of consciousness. It's the part of you that can still be surprised, and therefore can still surprise others. The systems designed to control and predict you are, by definition, trying to eliminate this randomness, to smooth it out, to make you a predictable data point. But in doing so, they try to extinguish the very essence of your adaptive strength. Why do they? These systems, these manipulators, these rigid structures, even your own ingrained fears fear your randomness so profoundly. Because control in all its forms thrives on predictability. Your randomness makes you ungovernable, unmanageable in the way they prefer. When you act outside their expected behavioral loops, their models break. Their carefully constructed cause and effect chains snap. A company that relies on you buying the same brand every week is disrupted when you randomly decide to try something new, or better yet, make it yourself. A political ideology that relies on knee-jerk emotional responses is threatened when you randomly decide to pause, research, and think critically from multiple perspectives. A toxic person who relies on your predictable reactions to their provocations loses their power when you randomly choose to respond with calm indifference or unexpected humor. Your own anxiety, which has a flawless plan to keep you small by predicting catastrophe for every new venture, is disarmed when you randomly say, "Screw it, I'm doing it anyway," and step into the unknown. Your randomness introduces variables they cannot calculate, futures they cannot foresee. It forces them to react, to adapt, and rigid systems are notoriously bad at adaptation. They are built for stability, for maintaining the status quo that benefits them. Your genuine, uncalculated move is a rogue wave in their placid sea. It demonstrates that their map of your mind, of your potential, is incomplete, perhaps laughably so. This is where mental toughness and true assertiveness are forged. It's not just about gritting your teeth. It's about having the internal freedom and courage to be unpredictable when conformity is demanded. It's about not being easily profiled, cataloged, or herded. When you embrace your capacity for randomness, you become a moving target for manipulators and a source of constant, low-level anxiety for systems that require your docile participation. They want you to be a simple equation. Your randomness makes you a complex, ever-evolving poem. They fear this because what they cannot understand, they cannot easily control. And what they cannot control, they cannot reliably exploit. Your randomness is a declaration of your sovereignty. So the crucial question becomes, how do you cultivate this inner randomness, this unpredictable edge that shatters flawless plans? This isn't about becoming erratic or unreliable in your commitments. It's about reclaiming the spontaneity, intuition, and courage that may have been conditioned out of you. It's about strategically injecting novelty and authentic choice into a life that often conspires to make you predictable. First, embrace imperfection and deliberate spontaneity. The pursuit of flawlessness in your own life can make you rigid and predictable. Perfectionism is often a cage. Dare to be messy. Dare to try something new without a 5-point plan and a guaranteed outcome. Deliberately break small routines. Take a different route to work. Order something completely new off the menu without agonizing over it. Start a conversation with a stranger, safely, of course. These small acts of breaking patterns flex your spontaneity muscle. If your entire life runs on a perfectly optimized, unvarying schedule, you become a very easy target for flawless plans, your own or others. Introduce pockets of unoptimization, moments of pure, unplanned exploration. Say yes to an invitation you'd normally decline, or no to an obligation you've always unthinkingly accepted, just to see what happens. This isn't about chaos, it's about choice. Second, hone your intuition, your internal randomness generator. Your gut feeling, that nonlinear, often inexplicable sense of knowing, is a powerful source of random insight. Logic and reason are essential tools, but they operate on available data and established frameworks. Intuition can tap into something deeper, something beyond the conscious mind's processing. To cultivate it, start by paying attention. When you have a gut feeling, don't immediately dismiss it if it doesn't align with logic. Note it down. Reflect on past instances where your intuition was right or wrong and why. Practice mindfulness to quiet the mental chatter that often drowns out intuitive whispers. Differentiate true intuition from fear or wishful thinking. Intuition often feels calm and clear, even if it's guiding you towards something challenging, while fear is agitated and noisy. Your intuition can prompt you to make those random moves that sidestep a carefully laid trap. Third, practice asymmetrical thinking and creative problem solving. When faced with a problem, the flawless plan approach usually involves applying standard solutions. Cultivate randomness by deliberately thinking asymmetrically. Ask, what if I did the exact opposite of what's expected? Or, what's the most unconventional, even absurd way to approach this? This isn't about always choosing the absurd path, but about generating a wider range of options, some of which will be unexpectedly brilliant. Challenge your own assumptions and the best practices everyone else follows. Read widely outside your field. Engage with people who think differently. The military strategist Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of unexpected maneuvers. In your own life, what are your empty city ploys, your feigned retreats that lead to breakthroughs? How can you reframe a problem so that the obvious solution becomes irrelevant? This creative agility is a hallmark of potent randomness. Fourth, dare to be productively illogical. Society, and often our own conditioning, prizes rationality above all. But sometimes the most growth, the most profound breakthroughs come from actions that defy immediate logic. This isn't an excuse for recklessness, but an acknowledgement that human motivation and success are not always linear or logical. Falling in love is rarely a purely logical decision. Starting a passion project that has no immediate financial return might seem illogical, but it can feed your soul and lead to unexpected opportunities. Quitting a safe but soul-crushing job to pursue something uncertain but aligned with your values can appear illogical to others. Your randomness here is the courage to honor a deeper, perhaps less quantifiable, form of wisdom. It's about understanding that the map of logic doesn't always cover the territory of human fulfillment or surprising success. Sometimes, you need to trust the random, pull towards something that simply feels right, even if you can't fully articulate why. Fifth, develop antifragility, thriving on random shocks. Nassim Taleb's concept of antifragility goes beyond mere resilience, bouncing back. Antifragile systems and individuals gain from shocks, stressors, and randomness. Instead of trying to create a life devoid of unexpected events, an impossible and undesirable goal, aim to become someone who gets stronger when plans go awry. When an invasion plan, say, a project derailing, a betrayal, a sudden obstacle shatters your expectations, don't just endure it. Mine it for information. What did this random event reveal? What new skills do you need? What assumptions were proven false? Each disruption is a chance to learn, adapt, and become more versatile. This mindset transforms random setbacks from terrifying deviations into valuable data points for future, more creative and robust actions. You start to welcome a certain degree of chaos, knowing it's the whetstone that sharpens your edge. Sixth, guard your quirks and your individuality fiercely. The forces of conformity are relentless. They want to sand down your rough edges, your eccentricities, your unique perspectives, because these are all sources of unpredictability, of randomness. Your specific, perhaps odd hobbies, your unconventional opinions held thoughtfully, your unique way of combining ideas, these are not liabilities. They are components of your unique signature. Resist the urge to blend in completely. Don't silence your authentic voice to appease the crowd or fit the mold. The more you homogenize yourself, the more predictable you become, and the more susceptible you are to flawless, external programming. Your individuality is the wellspring of your most potent random contributions. Think about how this cultivated randomness helps you dismantle personal invasions. That flawless plan of your anxiety, which dictates you must worry about X, Y, and Z. A random act of defiant presence, of focusing intensely on a joyful or creative task, can starve it of the oxygen it needs. The flawless plan of a manipulative colleague who expects you to react with anger or defensiveness. A random response of calm, detached amusement, or a completely unexpected question that puts them on the back foot, shatters their script. The flawless plan of your own inertia, keeping you stuck in a dead-end routine. A random decision to sign up for a challenging course, to start a radical new health regimen, to finally write that first page. These acts of initiative disrupt the internal status quo. This power of human randomness isn't confined to individual struggles, it scales up. It becomes a collective force. Think about history. So many oppressive regimes, so many flawless systems of control, eventually crumbled not always because of an equally organized counterforce, but often due to a groundswell of uncoordinated, random acts of defiance, courage, and ingenuity from ordinary people. The individual who secretly shares forbidden information. The artist who creates subversive satire. The small group that organizes a spontaneous protest. The inventor tinkering in a garage who stumbles upon a technology that changes everything. These are not typically part of some grand, centrally planned counterinvasion. They are the emergent properties of individual human beings exercising their agency, their creativity, their random spark. Societal progress itself is rarely a neat, linear projection. It's messy, unpredictable, driven by random mutations of ideas, accidental discoveries, and the unforeseen consequences of individual actions. The flawless plans of central planners and prognosticators are constantly being upended by this collective human dynamism. This is not to say that planning and order have no place, but that an over-reliance on them, a belief in their ultimate perfectibility, ignores the vital, chaotic, life-giving force of human randomness that propels us forward, often in directions no one could have predicted. The resilience of a society, much like the resilience of an individual, often lies in its diversity of thought and action, its tolerance for the unconventional, its capacity to be surprised by its own people. So let's bring this home. The world is full of flawless invasion plans. They come from outside, from systems that want to box you in, from people who want to control you, from cultural narratives that want to define you. They also come from within, from your fears, your ingrained habits, your limiting beliefs. These plans rely on your predictability, your compliance, your adherence to their script. They seem formidable, logical, often overwhelming. But you possess a countermeasure, an innate human capacity that these flawless plans can never fully account for, your randomness. Not recklessness, but the courage to be spontaneous. Not chaos, but the power of intuition. Not irrationality, but the audacity of creative leaps. Not disorder, but the beautiful, untamed complexity of your individual spirit. Their plans are built on straight lines you can swerve. Their plans depend on known variables. You can introduce the unknown. Their plans seek to confine. Your randomness seeks to expand. The call to action is this: stop trying so hard to be predictable, to be perfectly optimized according to someone else's blueprint. Embrace the glorious, powerful randomness within you. Cultivate it, trust it, wield it. Question the scripts. Challenge the assumptions. Dare to make the move that isn't in their playbook. Introduce a little well-placed, strategic unpredictability into your life, into your thinking, into your responses. When you feel the walls of a flawless plan closing in, whether it's the subtle pressure to conform, the blatant attempt to manipulate, or the insidious whisper of your own self-doubt, remember that your capacity to act in a way they didn't anticipate is your ace in the hole. Their calculations end where your true, untethered self begins. You are not a machine. You are not a data point. You are a human being endowed with a spark of the magnificently random. That is not your weakness. That is your most profound, most unassailable strength. Unleash it, and watch their flawless plans falter.